Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com. Shamelessly displaying my state of mind, but you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Show me. Oh, you guys need to walk louder. I didn't hear you opening the door, but I'm glad you did. So come on in. Get in here. Sit that thing down. We're getting ready to wrap up your week in a way. Man, it's so good. I swear I smell like my favorite food's cooking in the air. That's how good it is, right? So listen, welcome to today's installment. I'm your friend, Dr. Lauren, and it's Friday, the first day of March. Enero, febrero, mayo. Is that? Oh, I forgot all of my first grade Spanish. So anyway, it's the first day of March. Now, I'm just going to say it real quick. I'm not going to preach lecture about goals, but it's the last month of Q1. You still have time. Don't let yourself down. Don't break the covenant you made with yourself. Those are the worst ones. Okay. Just real talk right there. How do you know it's real talk? Because there it is. The bell of purpose confirms it. I ring that bell every time I believe there's some truth on the table. And how can I know? How can I be so sure? Because just like that bell, the truth, yep, you guessed it. It has a ring to it. So that's not a prop. I mean, it's cute. It really kind of does look like one, but it is a reminder. It's an opportunity. So don't miss it. If you're, whatever you're doing, you're busy, you hear the bell rung, come back. Find out what it was I was ringing it for. Can I get a name, man? Yes, I'll kick him off. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, right? So I'm so happy to see you all. Good morning, all of you beautiful people. Today, what we're going to do is find one E and one R, and we're going to push it right up beside what we already are. So if you're great, I know you are, you're going to be greater. If you're strong, I know that too. You're going to be stronger. And of course, you're bright. You made the decision to show up here, right? So you're going to be even brighter. Find that E and that R. Find your highest self. And today's show is destined to help get you started on that path. And I'm just going to say it again. Can I have an amen? Yes. I feel a hallelujah. Hallelujah. See how it just burst out of me? Let it go. Let it go. Listen, before we get DR.JIM Salvucci, and I checked it out, it's okay. He's not from the Boston Salvuccis. That's a whole nother show. Anyway, I'm kidding. I made that up. I hope that's not really a family. There's a black van in front of my car, in front of my house. Why'd you mention our name on your show? What do you know? Who you been talking to? That kind of I watch too many movies, right? Okay. So anyway, I want you guys to be a part of something I want to talk about next week. Because it's not something to just casually throw against the wall and hope it sticks. I'm really concerned. I was listening to Sirius XM on my way to the health club this morning, and I've been hearing the song and singing to it, even though I don't know. I'm like, and I listened. I really listened. And it's a song by, I guess it's a girl or maybe a group. It sounds like a girl singing. It is a girl singing, but I don't know if the name is a group or person. Can't tell nowadays. SZA. And the song is called Kill Bill. And I'm thinking, I watched that movie. Remember that? Yeah, Uma Thurman. That was good. Right. She started singing. I'm singing along with her. But today I really listened to the chorus. She was like, yep, I just killed my ex. And I'm going to go kill his girlfriend next. And I was like, okay, what is this? Y'all, go listen to it, find it, and we're going to talk about this because I'm not going to say any more about it now. But next week, that's going to be our hot topic next week, okay? And speaking of hot topics, also Wendy Williams. We're going to talk about that. The documentary is out. I don't know if you've seen it. I haven't, but Alexa sure is telling me a whole bunch of deets about what happened. Really interesting. So we'll get into that next week too. All right. Who is here? DR.JIM Salvucci. I don't know. Too much CSI. He's an author. He's a keynote speaker. He's a coach. He's a consultant. And in his prior life, he was an English professor, a dean, and also a vice president of several higher education institutions. Before he went out and blazed his trail, which we're going to talk about today, by becoming the founder of Guidance for Greatness. So there's a lot more, but I don't want to give it up. Timing is right on time. Let's get him in here. You guys, he's never been here, so it's the first timer. Be nice. Yeah, I know how you guys are. Hit him with those questions, though. Get your questions in the comments. We love questions. Get on your feet. How do you do that? I want you to applaud. How do you do that so we can hear it? Put some hearts on the screen. It's a virtual way of saying welcome, because here he comes, DR.JIM Salvucci. Hey, Dr. Jim.
Hey, Dr. Lauren. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Tell the truth, you can dance, huh?
No.
You can't?
No.
I was watching you in the green room when the little countdown thing was going on. I was like, come on, Jim, move a little. But I thought, well, maybe he's not trying to show out or anything. And those are usually the best ones. But, oh, really? Why
No.
not? No, 2 left feet?
2 left feet,
Really?
4 left thumbs. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I just remember not to be on the well, in my family, my nieces and nephews claim I can't because I can't do that choreographed line stuff.
Yeah.
They say right, I go left. But freestyling, I think I'm pretty darn good.
Good.
Right? So listen, I read a little bit from your bio, but it's never the same. So what I like to do is I'll step out for about 60 seconds and let you just say hello, say good morning to everybody, kind of just start things off in the vibe that you're feeling today because you're here to pour into us and we're ready for it. So I'm going to, for happy first day of March, by the way.
Yeah, happy first day of March.
Thank you. I'm going to dip out and let you take it away, and then I'll be back in and we'll get started.
All right.
All right, all you.
Well, good morning, everyone. So I'm Dr. Jim Salvucci. I am a leadership consultant, coach, speaker, author, and I used to be an English professor. For 30 years, I was in higher ed, and I taught English, and then I became a dean, and then I was a vice president at a couple different colleges, none of which you heard of, which was a great experience. But I left higher ed because I realized that I could be of more use teaching what I learned about leadership. I had always been a leader since I was a kid. I got thrust in a leadership position after leadership position, even as a Boy Scout, way before my time. And I was a good, what I call gut leader. Like I could get things done. I was very intuitive. But when I became a dean, the stakes were raised, and I realized I had to study leadership. And that's what I started doing. I treated leadership like my second discipline after English. And that's what I do now. So I try to impart to people what I learned in that experience so they don't have to learn it on their own like I did.
How interesting. Ringing the bell. Thank you for that. And so first things first, because I'll tell you, okay, I'm gonna just come clean. When I booked you on the show, there was one thing we found out about you that really made me want, we got to talk about that. So I've really designed the whole show today around this one topic, if that's okay. And it's one of your certifications. Okay. And you have several, but this was the thing that I thought was the most interesting about you and all the things that I found. And it was that, and I had never heard of it, you guys, until Dr. Jim. He is a certified tiny habitats coach. And there is some of his work right there. He is a tiny habitats coach. And I never heard of that.
I'm a tiny habits coach.
What?
Tiny habits, not habitat.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I've got a whole show about tiny houses and stuff, and you're not.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No,
you're going to tell you.
Bye-bye. What the hell? I'm kidding, Dr. Jim. I did all that. That was just... I know. I was cracking up like that this morning when I came. I did that when I came from the health club. When
I'm totally going to steal that.
Wasn't that great? House on the screen and all of it, and I can hear you. But oh shit! Oh no! No!
I'm going to use that.
I want to start though with, if we could, because we're going to get into your guidance for greatness. I love that title, and how you take young, good bosses and turn them into young, great leaders, or send them on the road so that one day they can become that. But I believe they become great leaders while they're still young through your tutelage. And so, but let's start with, since it was such a big drum roll moment, your face when that house popped up on the screen.
I'm thinking, I know he's kidding. I know he's got to be.
You did, but were you a little scared that?
I wasn't scared. I was amused.
Oh, really? Okay.
Either way, we could work it, right?
Wasn't that funny though? Tiny habitats.
I love it. Actually,
so shout out to all you tiny house owners or renters. So, but what is a certified? It really was a thing that, seriously though, that I was like, I love this. Tiny habits. Is there such a thing?
Absolutely.
Name one.
Well, there's infinite number. I mean, they're habits. They're any habit you build that can be tiny. So
Wait,
I'll give
like
you
my right eye flicking?
I'm sorry?
Is this a tiny habit if I did this all the time?
Yes.
Okay. But what kind of tiny habits do you I must shut up
way
now.
more than that. So basically, just to boil it way, way down, it's either it's something so small that you do that you just got to do it, right? It's too easy to skip over. And it really comes in two forms. It's either something that you do as a reminder, right? Or it's something you do as something you want to grow, right? You want to make it bigger.
Wait,
So you're
are you telling us that some habits are not bad?
Of course.
Well, nobody talks about it. Usually when you got a lot of bad habits. Oh, she's so pretty, but boy, does she got some bad habits. I can't remember the last time, Dr. Jim, if ever, that somebody came up and said, hey, let me tell you something. You should meet my sister. She has some of the best habits. You know what I'm saying? So usually, though, right or wrong, when people talk about habits, it's in a negative.
It's true.
But there are some good habits.
Most habits you have are probably good, or were good at one point, right? Because you formed a habit for a reason. So just to give you the background, tiny habits. I should have had I have several copies of the book, and they're all in another room. But is founded by Dr. B.J. Fogg, Stanford behavior researcher. He runs their behavior change clinic.
Okay.
And science-based. This is not, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, just woo-woo, right? This is not making stuff up. It's not about how many days to a new habit, which isn't true, right? 20 days, new habit, 22 days, new habit, 60 days, 90 days. The reason you've heard all those things is because they're not true. One of his great principles that he discovered through his research is we don't form habits over time. We form habits through emotion. You can form a habit in an instant through emotion.
Wait a minute. Back that thing up.
Yep.
Repeat that.
You do not form habits over time through repetition. You form habits through emotion. You could do something once, and if you have the right emotion, you formed a habit. I'll give you an example.
Color me shocked.
I will give you an example.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. You remember flip phones, those little gray boxes that you kept in your pocket and you didn't answer them, you didn't look at them, you didn't think about them until they rang or until you had to place a call?
You talking about a pager?
No, I'm talking about a flip phone. Those old, the old phones before the smartphones, right?
Oh, to be honest, I never had a. Well, wait a minute. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It was a T-Mobile or something. Yes, I did.
You had some version of it, right?
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Not interesting, right? Didn't pay attention to it. Then one day you got a smartphone. You got a Droid or an iPhone, whatever it was.
Android was first. Yes.
Okay. Me too. And you looked at it and it's kind of beautiful, right? It's got colors. It draws you in. It's interesting. And you're like, wow, this is really cool. And you played with it. It was fun. And you put it in your pocket. And what did you do 5 minutes later?
Pull it back out and look at it.
Boom. You had a habit. That became a habit. And you've done that ever since, right? You look at your phone. When you're like, your mind sort of wanders something, you pull out your phone, you look at it. That's your habit. Okay.
Here's what we're going to do. Because I love this. I love this. And I love asking these kinds of questions. So, I see what you just said. But I'm speaking for all of us. I think when, say, for instance, so the word habitual means you do it over and over and over. So I guess my question is this: what is the official amount of time in between doing it one time and the next time in order to qualify, or the next time and the next time? Let's say for the first 5 in a row. How much time is what they say is between them to say, see, that's now habitual?
Yeah, once. One repetition, right? It has nothing to do
with. So if I don't do it
time
again for 10 months, it's still a habit?
No, but if you're doing it, so the habit, well, maybe it depends on what the habit is, right? So if you see, the question is, not so much the repetition, it's about what makes you do it unconsciously.
Like, and you know what? Dr. Jim, something just came flying in as a download that said, and it's not, yes, it could be once every 10 months because I thought of somebody who had to go out and steal a car. They just couldn't help it. They were itching. But as soon as you may not do the habit, the thing right away, but the process of moving towards it, thinking about it, courting it, I'm fiending to do it. The itch, let's say, that you finally scratch. The itch begins sometimes. Am I right or wrong in there?
Yeah, no, you're right. And you can, and that's the whole thing. It's not trying to do it over and over again. It's feeling the emotion when you do it. Feeling that emotion.
Give us
you
an
can
example.
actually make yourself feel the emotion.
Give us an example in your life.
Yep, absolutely. So in Tiny Habits, there's something we call the Maui habit, because I guess BJ created when he was in Maui. That's where he lives. Okay. And it's one of the simplest habits. It's one of the most profound. This is a gift for everyone.
Okay.
This is
we
a
like
massive
gifts.
gift. This is not for me. This is from BJ Fogg. But when you wake up, whatever that first thing you do is, for me, it's putting my feet on the floor that I know I'm awake, right? Some people, they get all the way to the bathroom, they're looking in the mirror, and they're looking at themselves, brushing their teeth. Then they realize they're awake. Whatever it is.
Oh.
The moment you know you're awake.
Okay.
What you do is you say, today is going to be a great day. And you celebrate it. That celebration is the emotion. It puts you in a completely different mindset than most people are when they wake up, right? I used to wake up, I get up and groan and moan. And now I get up and I say, today is going to be a great day. And I throw my arms in the air and I celebrate it. That celebration gives you the emotion of success.
But traffic guard of purpose just came out in the middle of the street and said, stop. Okay, I see you, traffic guard. What about this? How much of that really affirmation, when you say that, because that's what they're considered, an affirmation, how much, but you have to mean it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like remember when you were kids and your mom said, say your blessing, say your grace. I'd already be chewing, and I would like fly through. She goes, go back and start over. What if that's poison? You got to mean it. Right. So, and this is a real thing. Just like when people say, oh, pray for me. And we hit the emoji. It ain't said nothing about a prayer.
Right.
We hit the emoji. We went through the emotions, through the emoji motions. But so really tell us about that. When you stop and say it, though, why? So, because you mean what you say and say what you mean. It is purpose. So talk about that a little bit. So somebody doesn't think they can just throw any old turd against the wall and it's going to stick.
Well, the key was, what did I tell you to do after you say it?
Celebrate.
Bingo. That's it. That's the emotion. That's what locks it in. And that's what makes you feel it.
That makes it authentic. The
trick is, though, you have to know.
I see how you were the president of those colleges. You're
smart. I wasn't a president. I was a vice president.
Same thing. Well, hey, most vice presidents are really the ones running the show.
Don't
Just
call
saying.
the presidents.
So anyway, okay. So why is this work so shocking? I'm already in there. Color me shocked.
Because it throws out the whole model that we've heard before about repetition, right? And it ties it to emotion, and it's super positive, super positive, right? People can change their whole lives. I've changed things about me, things I do. Okay, I used to do virtually no exercising. Now I do 120 push-ups a day, at least 120. Starting tiny habits.
All right, Mr. Overachiever.
I started with 2.
I
don't do them all at once, but I started with 2. I created a habit where I would do 2 push-ups, and eventually I said, I can do 5. And eventually I said, I can do 10. I can do 20. I can do 30. I do it in blocks of 30.
And you keep doing. That's how the person that what that reminds me of. When you hear the story about the breaking of the world record for running a mile, how when people broke it. Every time they did it, it had never been.
Right.
But because somebody did the other one, You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You're adding
But
on.
I want to ask you something real quick, because I don't want to leave anybody out on this journey, because I want us all to get out of the car at the same destination at the end of the hour. So we're almost halfway through, but I want to say this, ask you this. What about that person that feels like they've been a hoarder of bad habits? And so they can't see a starting spot to take off to do what you're saying about the affirmation and kick it off and mean it in the morning. They wait, i.e. depression. So what if you have to start there, moving something that is a bad habit out of the way in order for the good habits to take root?
Okay. So several things. All right. And I'm really kind of coming into this in the middle. Several things. First off, a habit, getting rid of a habit. What's that?
It's a protein shake.
Okay.
A smoothie.
So getting rid of a habit, and BJ Fogg calls it unraveling habit. We say we're gonna break a habit. He says you can't really break habits. You unravel them. They're complex. That's a lot harder than forming a new habit. And you'll see books and gurus out there who say, oh, it's easy to get rid of a habit. No, it is not. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is.
When you just said that, by the way, I saw entanglement. Is that what you're describing?
Yeah, sure. And you have to
Entanglement.
unravel it. It's a knot. You have to get out of it, right? You're caught in it. You have to figure out. Imagine a big ball of string in a knot, and you have to separate it. And sometimes you have to go through methodically, and there's a whole process, and it's very complex. I'm not going to try to summarize it here, and it varies for what you're doing. Sometimes it happens right away. You can break a habit.
Wait,
Boom.
sorry. And for you lazy people, because I'm one of them, because I know what you were thinking when he said the ball of yarn or whatever, I just throw it out and get a new one, because we don't have that kind of patience. So use this analogy. Imagine all your necklaces in a ball. You know how that is. You're not going to throw all those joints in the trash. You're going to sit there, do what you got to try to, now how do I get this one? Right. So look at it, because you got to see the value in something that is not easy or fun to do. Right or wrong.
Behind your computer equipment, that rat's nest, and you have to unravel. You don't just pull all the cords out and throw them out and buy new, right?
Great analogy.
So there you go. So anything you want to unravel, you have to do it carefully. You don't want to break the chains. You don't want to break the cords. You want to unravel it.
So patience.
Patience is important for unraveling a habit, but sometimes it can happen quickly. I was a lifelong nail biter. I did all kinds of things to stop biting my nails since I was a kid, right? Lifelong.
There was some bitter stuff on your fingers.
I did that when I was a kid.
I know. I got one right there that chewed off the other day. Go ahead.
Enjoying it. And so I created. So the way Tiny Habits works is you really struggle. We struggle with habits. We struggle with behaviors because when we want to change behaviors or start behaviors, we focus on motivation. What's the problem with motivation?
Do you really want me to answer that?
Yes, I do.
Because I stay away from it. I tell people I'm not a motivational speaker because motivation is temporary.
Bingo. Yes, that's it. It comes, it goes, it rises, it falls. Everybody's in the gym in January and nobody's in the gym in February.
Right.
And by March, there's dust bunnies running around. There's nothing going on because their motivation is waning.
Right.
You can't count on it.
Right.
So one of BJ's great innovations is he realized every behavior is made up of 3 pieces. You have a motivation.
Write this down.
Write it down. It's called BMAP. Behavior equals MAP. Motivation, ability, and a prompt. A prompt is something that gets you to do it, right? It could be somebody telling you. It could just be something you choose. So motivation comes and goes, but ability, you can actually control that. And if you make it so easy to do that the motivation doesn't matter,
you're
going to tend to do it. Hence the 2 push-ups becoming 120 push-ups, right? 2 push-ups is easy. I could do 2 push-ups, no problem, right? It wasn't an effort. It wasn't anything. I could do 2 push-ups, right? So I didn't have to be motivated. It was easy. Like, I could do that. Get on the floor, do 2 push-ups.
Do you think motive and so okay, let's take the root words, because I'll tell you why. I love this. I absolutely love this conversation. Because for me, inspiration, when you break down inspired in spirit, that's where I take it for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And then motive it's the same thing. Like I just posted yesterday. There's a difference. And I'm doing a keynote. I'm developing a keynote on this. This is a great topic, you guys. Do you know the difference between feeling and touching? See, a lot of people spend their lives looking for things to show that they're successful because they can touch it.
Right.
The big house, I can touch it. The house, I can touch it. But true love, like with your family, when you hold your baby, yeah, you're touching it. But the thing that is right or die is because you feel something. So you should seek things that make you feel something. And there's a difference between, well, let me feel that, as opposed to let me touch that. Right. You're feeling it. Oh, let me feel you. Can I feel your coat? Because you just looks like it draws you to it. Let me feel that. Oh my God, that's so soft. See what I'm saying? Right. So I love this thing. And why do you think this works? Because you absolutely are a cheerleader for what's his last name?
BJ Fogg.
BJ Fogg?
Yep.
Okay. See, how did you find your way to these teachings? How did you
I was working with a coach.
I
was working with a coach. She found out about it somehow. She told me about it. She started becoming a certified Tiny Habits coach. In Tiny Habits, we have something called the 5-day program. And what it is in 5 days, very, very simple, you will create 3 habits. And you work with a coach. It's all via email, just back and forth. Incredibly simple. Takes almost no time at all. And by the end of the week, you have 5 habits. I volunteered to be one of her first clients in that. And it's a free program, by the way, and you can repeat it as much as you want. So I volunteered to be one of her first clients, and that it amazed me.
It did.
So I signed up to be.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Certified. So I did. It's a pretty rigorous program too. It's not an easy certification.
So can you share with us, like, give us just a quick Reader's Digest example of 3 habits that people reach for? Because it seems like it's going to need to be a foundation for something later. So you just don't want to say, oh, I want a habit of, I don't know, putting lotion on my elbows every morning. You know, you want a habit that's going to link into something to create some type of a platform or a road somewhere, I would think.
Hey, if you need lotion on your elbows, form a habit to put lotion on your elbows. Nothing wrong with that.
You know that's true, because there was a dude at the gym yesterday. It wasn't his elbows, but those calves. I was like, good Lord. Where are my Jergens samples when I need them?
He needed a tiny habit to remind him to put the Jergens on. Yeah. And that's perfectly fine. So like I said, there's 2 types of habits, right? That you can form. They're the ones that are just reminders, kind of like the Maui habit. It's just reminding you to do that thing, right? In the morning. I have tons of those. In fact, I used to be very forgetful, right? I was one of those people walking the room like, why was I here? I mean,
I do that all the time.
Well, I've actually stopped being like that because I create so many little reminders through tiny habits.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay. I have a dehumidifier in the basement. It must be emptied every day. Now, how do I remember to do that every single day? Well, there's a journal I write in the morning. When I'm done with my journal, the habit is, so there's always an anchor. The anchor is, I finished writing in my journal. What do? The tiny habit is I walk toward the basement door. Not go down the basement. That's too big. Walk toward the basement door. I celebrated that. Even if I didn't go down the basement, I'd still celebrate that. That got me on my way. I now empty the thing every morning without question, without even thinking. I just do it.
So, Jim, some people would think, oh, he's describing rituals. Like we create ritual. Is it really the same? Because, you know, I only say that because somebody's always like, they're going to find a reason to not do something that needs to be done because they think they already know everything about it because, oh, I already tried that. He's talking about rituals. And it's not the same. The words are different, but there's more to it than just what you're calling it, right?
Right. There's much more to it. Here's the other thing. So BJ has 2 maxims. One is, and this is an important one, help people do what they already want to do. Right.
Now there's a novel idea.
Right. We don't do, you know, if you think I have to go to the gym and you cannot stand being at the gym, this tiny habits isn't going to work. Right. We don't worry about that. We find something else where you're going to get exercise. If your goal is to get exercise, there's lots of ways of doing that without going to the gym. Find something that works for you. Right. So it's not just forcing you to do something you don't want to do, because that's not going to work. You're not going to ever feel that emotion of success, which, by the way, is the other maxim. Help people feel successful. Notice I didn't say be successful. Feel
it. See, there's that word. Ooh, it's coming up. See, download day. Yes. So, Jim, let's hit this. And then I got something down here I circled in green that I have got to ask you about that I found. I'm so intrigued. But before I get to that, I want to get this right because of for the sake of time. Okay. The consistency. I know for a fact because I have things. That's why I have a bell of purpose. That's why I have a wall of purpose. I place things around me to remind me, and I keep them within reach. Not like you had to walk to the back, but some of those things I have to keep right here where I spend most of my time because of this. I have to know I believe we all need to know ourselves so well for those days where we wake up and you sit in that chair and I sit in mine and you're wherever you go to do what you do to ease suffering in the world, but you don't show up as the person that we all are looking at each other as today.
Right.
You wake up and it's a dark day. It's shadow work. It's this, it's whatever. So the consistency thing is all that celebration part. It's the gratitude part. Because you don't celebrate something you're not grateful for. That's why I tell people, don't be afraid of tears. Tears, I don't care if they're joy or sorrow. The best part of that, the moral of that story of a tear is, it represents something that means something to you. So be grateful. There are people who can't cry tears. Can you imagine if you don't have the ability to cry tears? Yeah. So let's go here. And then I got to ask this burning question about this topic because there's something in there. I know there is. So I want to say this before we change and pivot over, just in a nutshell, who is the most qualified? What Tiny Habits are coming over to talk to you about the work you do. And this is just a piece of it. This is one spoke. Tiny Habits is one spoke. What would some of the red flags be that a person would say, I'm tired of, I'm sick of, it's time for, I wish I need to.
Right.
What kind of words would fit in there for them to be a perfect fit for you?
As a Tiny Habits coach or a leader?
Any kind.
Oh, I mean, for me, I use Tiny Habits in my practice. I don't primarily, coach in Tiny Habits, just something I give people.
Right.
So I was working with a client yesterday and we created what we call a Tiny Habits recipe for her. So she'll do this one behavior.
Yeah.
But, so what with me, it's when I work with people who kind of get it. They're kind of like I was when I became a dean. I looked around, I realized I didn't have any models. I didn't have any help. I didn't have any mentoring. I had nothing in terms of leadership. And I knew I needed leadership. I looked at my peers. They weren't leading. They were just bosses. So I'm looking for people who are like me. Usually they're in their 30s, right? They could be younger, they could be older, but they're around that age. And they're moving into a bossing position and they realize, I don't want to be a boss. I don't want to be like my bosses. I don't want to be like the people
I've heard people say that lately.
Okay. I think that's wonderful. Send them my way because I can help them do that. I can help them be a leader. I make a strict distinction between.
Well, especially people in corporate.
Yeah.
They're in there and they're running out of it like a burning building. You'd think they were on the Poseidon, the way they're jumping ship.
They are.
Because they're getting chewed up. They're getting chewed up in there. So yeah, I get it. Okay. And we're going to come back then to when we hit your links at the end of the show. Before that, though, when we come back, we've got a little break here we're going to take. When we return, here it is. I want you to think about this. I found you were talking about somewhere out there about when you were you were in Boy Scouts, right? And it didn't work for you because they forced you into a leadership position that you weren't ready for. And that really resonated with me. And I want to talk about that because a lot of people don't understand what that can really do down the road.
Sure.
When it happens early in life, that and more when we return with Dr. Jim. Don't go away. You'll regret it if you do. We'll be right back.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years.
Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time.
That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them.
22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up.
I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true?
Because each of you has just changed.
Welcome back to Bathrobe Moments, Friday edition with Dr. Lauren and Dr. Jim. Dr. Jim, before we went to that break, I brought up this thing that I found about where it was in an interview I watched of yours, and you said you had been in Boy Scouts, and the thing about it is that they forced you into a leadership position you weren't ready for. You didn't say that I didn't want or I didn't need. You said you weren't ready for it. And the thing that popped into my head then was how often I have this conversation with, especially my coaching clients, about we all know about the person who can't say no, but we don't ever talk about the person who doesn't know when to say yes, because they're two different things. And so talk about that, because I can see exactly how this fits into the leadership development at an early age or stage for people when they're forced into things they're not ready for. And how do you vocalize, I'm not ready for this, without thinking they're going to get rid of me, I'm devalued, or whatever the ramifications could be? Take that and run with it. I love it.
I mean, first off, I was like 12.
Yeah, but the story has stuck with you.
Oh, yeah.
And the lesson.
Because it informed my practice later on.
There we go.
And I don't remember the details. I was in Boy Scouts. I was a very small troop. I grew up outside of Philadelphia. It's just a really small troop. I was like, which is very rare for me because I was young for my grade. I was like the oldest kid in the troop. And at one point, we just had one Boy Scout master, the leader, whatever, the guy, adult, nice guy. He came to me one day and said, I want you to be, I think the title was Senior Patrol Leader, which is like, if I remember correctly, and I hope I'm not wrong, it's like the highest rank you can have as a Boy Scout within your troop, right? You're like normally it's like the Scoutmaster, Assistant Scoutmaster,
right,
and then Senior Patrol Leader. This was Scoutmaster, then me. And so, okay, I did that. And I made tons of mistakes. At one point, there was like an open rebellion against me. I don't even remember why. My best
mutiny
turned against me. Yeah. And
string him up.
Because I was like cracking the whip and doing this stuff because I thought that's how you led.
So was it a lack of maturity that made you?
I was 12. I was a kid, you know, but I didn't know what I was doing. And the thing was, the Scoutmaster kind of stood back and let stuff happen. He'd intervene every now and then, but I was doing so much work. I mean, every camping trip, every meeting, everything. I planned them. I led them.
So why do you think this has stuck with you all these years, Dr. Jim? What's the moral of that story?
The moral is don't join the Boy Scouts. No, the moral is that
you go get some hate mail.
Yeah, whatever. But
he's kidding. I got you off. Don't worry. Go ahead.
The moral is that, you first off, no one's prepared for leadership. No one is prepared for leadership. Everyone needs to work on it. It is a constant reclamation project. You are constantly working on yourself. I learned from that I needed to take my foot off the gas a little, give up a little control, right? That's key. If you're a leader and you're a control freak, you're not a leader, you're a boss. I had to stop being a boss. Right? I had to start thinking about how to get people to use the word inspiration before, right? I was going for motivation. Inspiration's a higher aspiration.
Yes.
You want to go for inspiration when you're a leader, not motivation. Motivation gets people to do things.
Right.
Inspiration gets them to want to do things. Right.
Yes. And I always say that, you know, there's two kinds of leaders. I remember watching it. There were people when I was young, like at McDonald's and stuff at 16, that I could instantly tell the difference between when I would do something because I had to and doing something because I chose and wanted to. Because chose and wanted to was attached to initiative.
Right.
The other one was, you know, spite or pushback or nothing that served me. So keep going. Okay.
Or transaction, whatever.
Yes.
Get paid, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And right. My favorite leadership quote is from Dwight Eisenhower. I'm going to modify it a little bit, but he says, a leader is someone who gets people to do what needs to be done because they want to do it.
Because they want to do it.
Right?
Absolutely right.
That's inspiration. So I couldn't articulate that then. I probably couldn't articulate that 20 years later, but that's what was going through my head. I had to adjust my leadership. I had to change. And that probably put in me, it's funny, I haven't really talked about this before. That probably put in me, so thank you for this, the spark to become the person I am now, right? In order to make those changes. I'm still changing, right? I'm 59 years old. I'm still making major changes in my life. I'm constantly trying to reclaim my life, trying to become a better person. I learned a long time ago that perfection is a fraud. Striving for perfection is a fraud.
I like the way
that betterment is the key, right? And if you're aiming for perfection, you will always fail. So you're always a failure, which is why so many bad bosses are failures, right?
I want to
miserable.
Speaking of a good leader. No, not even a good leader. Let's talk great leader, okay? Because you're good, you get better, you become great, and when you leave and go into the sunset, they go, there goes one of our greatest. That's what we're going for, or at least should be. But what about this piece? And I'll give you a heads up. It could be a trick question.
Ooh.
So give it some thought. What is the mindset? How does the mindset of a what you consider a successful leader look like when it comes to where they see themselves in this scenario? Here we go. Above and below, in front or behind. Is that which one of those, if any, should a good leader, how would they see themselves? Where are they? Am I above the people I lead and they're below me? Am I in front of the people I lead and they're behind me? Or what?
All the above. A good leader can adjust to the situation. So Nelson Mandela said that a leader needs to be like a shepherd and be behind and sort of pushing the flock. But there's something to be said for times when you have to get out in front. Sometimes you've got to be, if you want to look at a military,
to stand in front, to jump in front of the bullet for the team, take one for the team, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I have served as a human heat shield.
That's true.
My people. Sometimes you got to be above them, taking authority. Other times you got to just
because of the trickle down.
Them. Right. It's other times you got to just sit below them and say, "You have this. I'm just going to watch you. Show me how great you are."
Right. That's that's like a tightrope, because because on one hand, if you're not careful and stay on the rope, you're a micromanager. If on the other hand, then you're they're not growing.
Constant self-awareness.
Yeah.
Constant self-analysis, constant adjustment. Yep.
So
there's a great saying about the Apollo mission when it first went to the moon.
Yeah.
They had to make all these micro adjustments nonstop because the computers weren't very sophisticated. So the rock would start going a little bit and they go back and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In other words, they failed to the moon. Every moment was a failure. They got off course and had to adjust. Got off course. That's leadership.
What about this though? Nowadays, and companies, startups, established companies, 100 Fortune, 500 Fortune companies, all the infrastructure is different. Every place people go is different, especially post-COVID. So much is different. So what I'm talking to is about titles. So when you say young leaders, where does that, how do they know, how can they identify themselves within their particular organizations based on their title that they're a young leader? They may think they're 5 years away from what you're looking for and they're already there. How do they ascertain, Dr. Jim?
Yeah, that's a little bit tough because it is so highly situational.
And
I mean,
everybody
if
has
they
a
get a
different
title,
age.
that's obvious, right? They
Right.
become a manager, director. If they have people who report to them, even if they're just a team leader, they're a leader. But yesterday I was working with a client. She doesn't have any direct reports, but she was telling me how she was interacting with others, her peers, and I was helping her with that. And she was taking a leadership role. She was taking a leadership role.
Yeah.
I didn't tell her that because I don't want to freak her out, but that's exactly what she was doing.
People get intimidated when they hear, well, we want you to take on a leadership role.
Yeah.
But what about this? There are people, though, I think the worst thing is to have a title and think that that's what makes you a leader.
Well, that's a boss.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's
Which
a
you don't
boss.
want to be. Right.
Right.
Oh, so what about this? So really when someone introduces you and says, yeah, I'd like you to meet my boss. Who are you talking to like that? You know what I mean? Is that like a 4-letter word? Well, it is a 4-letter word.
It's a 4-letter word, yeah.
I'll let you use that. I'll sign off. I'll let you use that. I'll let you have that.
I like that.
I know.
I might use that. I'm looking for a book title.
There you go.
Boss is a 4-letter word.
Boss is a 4-letter word. Look, you better cut me in though.
I think
that black van will be riding up and down your street. I know. Don't make me call somebody. That's a great one, Doc. See, divine. This is divine.
I see. I like how we worked that out. That was beautiful.
Wow.
We collaborated on that title.
Let me see. So where are we at with time, you guys? Oh boy, here it is. Your Jerry Springer moment is amongst us. It is here. If people were to forget everything we talked about here today, just out the window it went. What would be the one thing, if you had a magic wand, that you would just cement it into our spirits for the rest of our journeys? What would be the one thing you would hope people would take away from today and do something with it?
No matter where you are in your life, no matter what's going on, no matter how old you are, no matter how poor you are, how rich you are, no matter what your position, your title, whatever your prospects, you can change for the better.
So in other words, it's never too late.
Never too late.
Oh, and we're going to put on I got so caught up, I forgot to, I'm going to throw these up on the screen, and I'm going to also do you a solid, you guys, and drop all 3. This is a free gift from Dr. Jim, the Great Leadership Toolkit. I'm going to drop that into the comment section so you'll be able to just touch it and get over and get it. There is also this one, his LinkedIn. You can get over and check him out there. And let's not forget the website, guidanceforgreatness.com. Thank you so very much. I'm going to let those run. I'll drop all 3 of those in the comment section for you guys. Don't worry about that. Listen, I want to thank you. And if you ever want to come back and pour into us again, by all means, just reach out.
This is great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
I will. Absolutely. I love this show. I've been watching it. It's great.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world. Listen, you guys, you mean the world to me as well. And I hope we've done a little bit to improve the circumstances that are just shit. That's all it is. Listen, when we come together like this, we leave better than ever. That's right. So I will see you, hopefully, God willing, Monday morning. It'll be, I fly out Monday. Oh, I wanted to remind you guys. I'll be here Monday morning, and I'm headed out to, what is that place? Savannah, Georgia, for the NYAR National Youth Conference. And I will be broadcasting from there all the way through Wednesday of next week, but we'll be having live shows, no replays here. So listen, I'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Central. Get out. Have a great weekend. Find a little bit of your higher self today. Don't forget, find 1 E, 1 R. You don't need 26 letters anymore. You're already great. Make it greater. You're already nice. Make it nicer. You're already bright. Aim for brighter. Listen, get out of here. I tell you every time I love you when we leave, and I mean it. And there's just pretty much nothing you can do about it. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Dr. Jim. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.